scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a fun and dorky layout about my Google Calendar. I'm not even kidding, it's about my Google Calendar, but it's about my Google Calendar because my Google Calendar has been life-changing for me this year, and so I wanted to do a layout about it. So I have my Google Calendar printed out, and you can see that it's in a horizontal orientation, and it's not working out for this type of album. So I'm going to reprint it in a different orientation, but I'm going to use both of these beautiful papers. It's actually one paper, two sides, from the Cocoa Daisy Cactus Moon collection because I really like the way that it represents like daytime and nighttime because I'm doing sort of a before and after layout with these Google calendars. So this one that I'm cutting is sort of like the template that I use every week for my Google Calendar. So it's basically blank with just time blocks. And then the one on the right is what my week looks like after once I get to the end of the week and I have scheduled in everything that I need to do as a small business owner for the week. And it's chaos and it's hectic, but it's fun for me because I'm a nerd, to see where all of my time is going and how I'm spending my business hours. So I initially was going to create two pockets, like two folder style pockets, but I really did not want to cover up this paper. So I'm actually going to create pockets out of the paper itself, so that I don't ruin the aesthetic of the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my X-Acto knife. You can see I've matted this photo with a big tab at the top so that I can cut like a pull tab in it, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. But I'm getting out my X-Acto knife and I'm just going to cut a slit in the paper itself above the cactus for me to slide this paper in and out of pocket style. So I'm going to grab my knife and I'm just going to go right along the edge, just slightly wider than the paper itself. Of course, my X-Acto knife didn't cut all the way through, so I've got to, work my magic here, which makes it a touch ragged, but that's okay. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And then now that it's large enough, I can just slide it in and I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to use some foam tape to pop up this paper so that I have room to like wiggle my pages in and out. And I repeated the process on the right hand side. You can see that side's already done. And I'm just creating foam tape railing along the bottom or along the sides and edges and the bottom of this, the background. And I'm going to back it with just some plain cardstock so it creates a pocket in the background. Now that I'm done with that, I can cut a tab into these papers and I'm going to put my word sticker sign. Hi, Apollo. I'm going to put my word stickers down, or my letter stickers down, so that I know how wide my tab needs to be. So one side's going to say begin, the other side's going to say end, and then I'm going to cut custom tab sizes for each of those papers. So I'm just going to trim it with my scissors. And then I'm going to use a corner rounder to round all the edges of everything except for that inside corners of those tabs because I can't reach that with my corner rounder, so I'll just do that by hand. Who'd have ever thought that the corner rounder would still come in handy all these years later? So I'm going to do that. Just use my scissors to hand trim the rest of this. All right, so the basis of my layout is done. Now to embellish, which actually became the tricky part because I have a lot to work with already on this page. I'm going to add a title and I'm going to add two different colors. You can see it says My Busy Weeks at a Glance. And then as you saw in the beginning, there's actually a pocket page divider in the middle of this with 4 3x4s. So I'm trying to keep that in mind while I am embellishing. Like I want them to be symmetrical. I want them to sort of mirror each other because that's the whole point of this layout, but they can look different from each other because there is a divider in the middle with my journaling and some journal cards, like decorative journal cards. So I decided to go away from the cactus motif because I didn't want any cacti floating in air, but I feel like there definitely needs to be something going on this page besides the decoration of the page itself. So I'm going to take these motifs that I actually cut off of the printables from the collection. They were on one of like the planner printable pages, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to mirror them on the page. One of the problems I was coming across with this specific paper is the moon. There's no moon or sun or anything on the other side, so I had to work around the moon, and I had to create a design that worked on both sides even though the moon was only on one side. So that's kind of was my struggle a little bit with this page. It came out fine. I really like it, and it's cute, and I really like that I documented this story, but I did struggle a little bit with embellishing it. And I wanted to let you know, like, I left that in because I want you to know that even though this is my quote unquote job and I do this every other day for YouTube, the struggle is real. Like, the struggle happens to all of us. And so sometimes the pages are harder to come together, or they don't come out quite the way that you thought that they were going to for everyone. So that's just my little word to the wise here. So I'm adding in some word strips just to add a little bit to the page. You can see my cards in the middle with my journaling on the back. And then I felt like those word strips needed a little bit more of an anchor. So I'm going through the sticker sheets and I'm just going to add a couple of florals. I wouldn't, like, I shied away from the large die cut florals to begin with, but they really just needed something to anchor them. I wish that there had been some sort of celestial motif stickers in this collection so that I could like put stars up there, but there wasn't, so no big deal. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to embellish this card to match the page, because there was that big empty space on the bottom of the card that I felt like didn't go with my layout very well. So I'm going to add another one of these motifs and a floral cluster on it. And then I'm gonna mess with it a million times, because that's what I did with this layout, was just mess with everything. And then I'm gonna call it good. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you. Oh yes, enamel dots. We need to have those. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. If you're new to Cocoa Daisy, you can use my name at checkout and get a discount on, or get a coupon towards a future purchase when you start a new subscription. And I want you to let me know in the comment section below, would you ever scrap your calendar as part of your daily routine if you use one? So maybe you would. Let me know in the description box below, and I will see you next time. All right. Thank you.